This is the Red All Over instant reaction to Barnsley's postponed game against Stevenage. So obviously no reaction to it, but we'll be discussing the goings on and processes obviously that led to that, and 1,300 Reds fans being down there before the game was called off at 1 p.m. yesterday. And we'll also be previewing Oxford United away on Tuesday night. So let's get into it. Right, first up though, we've got a nice little surprise for you of Al's instant reaction to finding out that the game had been cancelled yesterday.
Well, what a complete shambles today has been. Pitch inspection 11 o'clock, put back then to 1 o'clock. Now we're here in Hitchin and it's been postponed. Total waste of time. Disgusted from Hitchin.
So, Al, you're in Hitchin, or Hitchin as other people call it. Depends where you're from, I suppose.
I don't pronounce my H's. Sorry.
Yeah, too much time in it. It's a time saver. Yeah, so obviously, pitch inspection was announced on Friday at 11 a.m. Obviously, by that time, obviously, even where Stevenage and where we are, a lot of fans would have been well on the way down to the game. And then it got pushed back to 1 p.m. before then, obviously, being called off at about 20 past 1:30. After they'd confirmed it. I kind of understand why. I see why the referee had given it a chance, I suppose, in them 2 hours to try and get it on. But these kind of things, the only people that seem to suffer from it is the fans, and it's been us. I mean, obviously, we had the same thing with Exeter last season as well.
It is, and what happened at Exeter, it were raced at Exeter, and that was called off on the Friday, as we were playing Saturday. So ground's not going to change at a racecourse or a football pitch, because you've got stadium, and it's also you've got shade, aren't you, stopping it from defrosting. And that's what happened yesterday. There were a lot of Barnsley fans angry, frustrated, costly. You know, £25 each on coach. So about £100 at least for Kate and I. It's wrong. It's totally wrong. And the fans should be thought about. It should have been called off Friday to stop anybody travelling. I mean, 11 o'clock, yeah, fair enough. I'll give it a chance. And the statement from referee was the first inspection was at 11 a.m. It revealed areas of concern and places, and one of them failed to improve in the intervening 2 hours. Sam Perkins says we've got an area that's about 18 yards from the touchline on the East Terrace. That's their end. Side that is basically a glass layer. So if it were a glass layer at 11 o'clock, it won't going to change at 1 o'clock. I mean, that's logic. That's pure logic. The covers were on last night, despite the efforts of all the staff down here trying to shift it this morning. It just hasn't thawed out. I think we've basically got a permafrost. So the permafrost was there. That was going to change in that period of time. That's logic again. And no common sense for me were used yesterday. The rising temperatures were a factor. They weren't rising that much. I was down there. I can tell you it wasn't rising by that much at all. And we hope that play into our advantage and create a thaw. But that didn't happen either. I think basically we were half a day probably on the wrong side of the weather front. Well, if that were the case, there were another day short at Weatherfront. They could have stopped it on Friday and stopped the pain and discomfort for all the fans travelling. It stinks. But the 20-yard is not playable. Fair point. I accept that as well. It went on to explain that player safety was paramount reason for the final decision. The issue, it doesn't take a stud, said Mr. Perkis. The stud doesn't go into the ground when you plant your foot and foot slides before going into the turf. That becomes an issue, not just necessarily running, but particularly in contact and challenges. There's a greater chance of injury. There's also an issue with the frost, but there are players falling on it. But he wasn't concerned about players falling on it. So that's a statement from the referee. And honestly, truthfully, it's got to be better managed for fans travelling all that way, 2.5, 3 hour travel, to be called off and be frustrated that you're not seeing 90 minutes football at a brand new stadium. 1,300 plus fans, and it's going to be on a Tuesday night now. We're lucky to take 300-400.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, as I was mentioned there, Andy, it's not a fault of Stevenage or obviously us. It's the referee that's the one that's in control and in charge of whether the game goes ahead or not, and these type of things. Obviously, this has happened to us a fair few times, been sort of the last year alone, including last season. Do you think this is something that the AFL need to start looking at in terms of the process in which they do use? Because it's happened so many times now, and especially when you think about the cost of living crisis and things like that, that people are struggling, people are spending their additional money, and it's not necessarily for anyone to be reimbursed by it because it's somewhat of a chance in which you take on it, and it's almost like who's going to reimburse you for it and things like that. So it's people out of pocket for no fault or no reason of their own.
Absolutely, it's just madness, isn't it? There's a number of things there for me. I mean, the first thing, Al's exactly right. The fans don't seem to come first. It's a long way to go for no good reason. And I know Hallen liked it at Hitchin, but and he had a breakfast, and I saw him have a pint of beer. So he went, only to warm his set. He's still coughing. You see, still needs to be drink to warm
Trying to
himself.
find somewhere warm to get out at cold.
I know, Al. I know. I think it's just madness. And like Alan said, for me, if it's, I mean, flipping it didn't thaw in 2 hours. What? In winter, in January, it didn't thaw in January. Who knew that had happened? That it wouldn't thaw. That's just ridiculous. So for me, it's very simple. Things can change from day to day. We know that. With the weather. But it's simple. Just do a test. It could be a local referee. Just do a pitch inspection the day before, not on the day. Do it the day before at the same time. So 3 o'clock on the Friday or wherever, 4 o'clock. Somewhere around there. And then you can make a decision. And if you get it wrong, and all of a sudden the weather turns fine, then that's that can cheese people up. But at least they're not halfway down the country to be cheesed off. That at least they're at home and they save a few quid. I've no doubt there'll be some people that saying that they should be that Alan and all the other 1,300 should be reimbursed with the travel costs or whatever. And I can see that argument. For me, what do we do about it apart from the day before? What do we do about it? This game in this country, so you're told, as a wash with money, particularly higher up, Championship and particularly the Premier League. It's an insanity that a professional football club, and I'm not talking particularly Stevenage, I'm talking about all football clubs that's in the Football League, so all 92 haven't got either undersoil heating or covers that are heated covers, if you want to call it that. It can't be beyond the wit of man to sort something out that you can even just get a dirty great big electric blanket, anything, if you can't get undersoil heating. The EFL needs to pull the finger out and FA and give people the grants to either to get a proper undersoil heating or, like I say, or a dirty great big electric blanket, whichever. Give them the grant. That we've got players in the Premier League that are being paid $1 million a month, but yet games are called off. And Alan has lost that on wherever it was, Al, 25 quid for his travelling expenses. It's pathetic, as what it is. And I think the EFL, FA, the governing bodies in this country for football need to get hold of themselves and sort that out, because there's no way on earth games should be called off for this. If it was thick with snow or swamped with water, that's different. But for this, it's just not right. And expecting clubs just to do it themselves, it's a game of football that fans want to go and watch. So not good enough. Get the electric blankets out.
Playable, to be honest. Neil thought it was great post-match listening to Neil Collins, and he was as angry as what we are, and he were all for fans. I heard yesterday whether it's a true fact or not that we took over 1,300, and that were more than they've got in season tickets. Now that's an interesting stat if that's a fact.
It would have made a great what a game it would have been now if it had been playable, if it had been thawed and playable by the the sorts of things I've said. Get some hot water bottles on pitch, and it's not about Stevenage, because Stevenage, you can only afford what you can afford, but clubs should be given grants. So they've had a meteoric rise, if you like, recently. Stevenage, so it's no criticism of them. Clubs like Stevenage and others should be helped. We should have been helped years ago. You know, we had under-soil heating, but no boiler to connect it up to make it. You know, so we got under-soil heating that didn't work. So you know, clubs need help like that. Just imagine
21st century, Andy. This shouldn't be a problem, should it? Personally,
no. Just think, Rital,
don't we?
Two teams up at the top. They're 3 points behind us. Two teams at the top. We've taken 1,300. They've got however many season tickets, and you know, in many respects, it's a big game that people would have loved to watch, whether it's on iFollow or in the ground. What an atmosphere it would have been. And now it's a damp squib because some people, not Stevenage, some people higher up, can't pull the finger out and give people grants so they can get games on. It's the national sport, for goodness sake.
But they said the statement what come out at 11 o'clock or 11:30 when it was called off. It was the referee, the EFL, and the PMOL. Now they're all involved.
Yeah,
the fans what were involved.
Yeah,
the referee, PGMOL, and EFL. So somebody's culpable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea though in terms of grants, because there's certain standards which your stadium has to hit to go up leagues and things like that. So it's almost one of like, well, if you come up from the National League, then undersoil heating and or some type of cover that hits a certain grade that enables some games to go on that should thingy, because otherwise we're getting to a point now with the amount of games that are getting called off and suspended that we just might as well pack it in for January and just have a month off and then come back in February when it's a bit warmer, because the amount of times like it just happened to us in particular of Exeter and yesterday of our fans have gone all the way down for nothing out of pocket, and then as you say it's going to make the return fixture, which more than likely will be a Tuesday, where 300 maybe, as you said, out of 400 might go down just because it's going to be a lot more inconvenient.
It's disgraceful though. It's totally disgraceful. But it's not about heating all the pitch. It's certain areas whereby you've got the stadium, the stands, what shading areas. So if you know what areas you need to protect, it's not going to be that expensive to just protect some areas. It's basic. It's basics, isn't it?
I think
it's very simple. If you think within the football pyramid, you think that if you're in the Championship and you know people are overspending to get into the Premier League because they know if they get in the Premier League, even if they come straight back down, there's the parachute payments there of many millions. So it's worthwhile getting into the Premier League. If only imagine being a non-league club or in the National League and getting promotion to League Two. If the plus thing was that you get undersoil heating or you know lots of sleeping, you know, lots of electric blankets and whatever,
water bottles.
Get wherever it is. Then that's even if they didn't stay up, they went back down. Then that's something very positive that makes it better for for their own fans as well as opposition fans. It's just easy to me. It shouldn't be called off for stuff like this.
Bradford were called off with Donny on Friday night. And look at distance they've got to travel. They can be short distance. What about long distance fans? It's pathetic.
I think that's certainly the thing, is sort of, obviously it seems like fans are nowhere near that consideration, and especially when it is a longer trip and a longer journey. It's almost there should be, I don't know, some sort of cut off at a certain mileage at, like, if it gets called off it gets an inspection on Friday, and if it's not playable then just err on the side of caution in terms of call it off on the Friday rather than call it off on the day, because I think on the days it's ridiculous.
And it was doing as well, traveled on train. You know, they had to get their tickets, pre-book their tickets months to try and get the cheapest, and saw somewhere whereby they got to come back on certain trains, and luckily enough, one guy managed to get on an earlier train back, and they allowed him to go back on his first class. Now that's a problem as well. You know, if you buy tickets on a train to go, you've got your connections, haven't you? It's totally wrong for our fans. I feel for every fan of Barnsley Football Club who travelled yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
To Peterborough as well.
I did see that.
Some went to Wickham, so some of our fans went to other games.
It's I saw the Barnsley flag getting laid at what it Shrewsbury versus Peterborough.
Peterborough against Shrewsbury, yeah.
Um,
It nearly worked. Shrewsbury took the lead. It nearly worked, but Peterborough made a comeback and won.
That's a shame. Get your thoughts down in the comments about obviously games being called off on the day, because obviously it's something that has impacted us quite recently, a couple of times as well, and what needs to be done. I mean, I'm quite a big fan of your grant proposal, Andy, towards it. To be honest, I think that's the easiest way, especially given that the money does seem to be stuck up in the Premier League and almost impossible to feed it back down to the FL. Yeah, so get your thoughts and opinions down in the comments as well. Right. I think that's probably the biggest reaction we've had to a game this season, to be fair. Longest instant reaction, even though not a ball were kicked.
In anger.
Exactly, not a ball kicked in anger.
Didn't need the ball kicking for anger, Al, did we? Your video straight afterwards in itching. Itching.
Hitching.
Itching and hitching. We're itching nice though, Al. Anyway, never mind.
It was all right. The fans were singing Yorkshire, Yorkshire. They wonder what I did to them in Hitching.
Nice. Right, so we are on our travels again on Tuesday evening as we face Oxford United in, well, what would have been back to back sort of playoff 6-pointers. So Oxford, Des Buckingham is manager, top scorer. Is the first one I've had a pain with is the fact that I've got 3 players here tied on 7 goals of Cameron Brannigan, Billy Bowden, and Mark Harris. Sat 6th in the league, just behind us. Key player Cam Brannigan, form 3 wins, and 2 losses in their last 5. And formation seems that they've just switched it up recently from 3-4-2-3-1 to 3-4-2-1, which seems to have yielded somewhat mixed results. So a little bit of a strange one there in how they have made that change and moved forward. So interesting with that change of shape and style. Al, what do you think to this one? Obviously, another sort of playoff 6-pointer all to play for. We lost 3-1 in the reverse fixture at the start of the season, but as we've seen since then, we have improved. And Oxford did lose their manager, didn't earlier this season.
I think so.
Off the top of my head. So yeah, a little bit of change up for them that they're having to deal with, whereas we've sort of steadied the ship somewhat.
We have, haven't we? And we've, as I said, we've only lost 5, haven't we? And it went to bigger size that we've lost to, and it were 3-1 hammering at home to them. So in the league table, we're both on 49. Goal difference with 20, they're 15. So it's a good game for both to go out and win, to be honest, to keep pressure on ones above us. Only problem we've got is this storm what's coming in, high winds, rain, etc. It was cancelled, postponed. I think we were on his way last season and we ended up in rugby. It was called off at Oxford. So we got on M1 and we settled with East Dean and we ended up, and then like yesterday, had an afternoon drinking in another place. So fingers crossed, it's going to go ahead. Watch this space. Depends on Mr. Referee, I assume, what happens. So, yeah, it'd have been good if lads had have had a game to keep going, but I'm assuming they might be in today training. You know, they didn't have no minutes in yesterday, so they could be in today training, getting ready for the trip to Oxford. What I did hear off Lee Phillips yesterday messaged me that if the game would have been played, the lads were staying down there. They weren't coming back home. They were going to stop down there and train Monday. But what Dan White had then messaged me to say, that's been cancelled because the game was postponed. The black boys have come back up here. So that's a bit of information for you.
It's sort of, to be fair, it does make sense given that players won't have needed to stay down there, so could have set back off at 1:30 as soon as they knew it were off. Andy, obviously, got 3 players there on 7 goals this season, so it's not like they're relying on one source 4 goals. And I think 2 of them are midfielders as well, in which they come from, and then Ruben Rodriguez as well on 6. So it seems like they've got goals sort of coming from all over and can hurt you not just with the strikers, but the midfielders backing it up behind.
That's absolutely right. There's not. You can't get a cigarette paper between us. You know, they've the same number of points. We've got a slightly better goal difference. In the league, we both conceded 30 goals. We've scored 50 and they've scored 45. So it's, a difference of 5. So there's goals there. And unlike us, if you take the 7-0 away and then take all theirs away, it's even closer. But yeah, it's shared. So it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because a lot of clubs have one or maybe 2 main goal scorers, usually the strikers, but they've shared it around. So there's, there could be problems from various parts of the pitch. What I do remember of the 3-1 defeat at home to Oxford. I mean, we know that we were in our infancy as a team, so I'm taking that into account. But they were very, very good. They fizzed the ball about quickly. They got in our faces. They played lovely football. So this has got the potential. If we match them in that instead of sitting back, then this has got potential to be a really good game. But of course, their game yesterday against at home to Northampton was called off. So who knows what's going to happen on Tuesday? I hope. We know there's supposed to be a bit of a thaw. There's supposed to be rain coming, so that could make a difference. Do it on Monday. Do it at tea time, early evening on Monday, the same time on Monday. Don't make people travel all the way down there, take time off work and what have you, and set off down, because it's a decent distance to Oxford from Barnsley. And, again, if they leave it to an hour or 2 hours before kickoff, people are going to be there. Alan will be in rugby again, and that's not good for him. He's going to be 70 on Friday. He don't need to be out in cold unnecessarily. He needs to wrap up and be snuggled with his slippers on in front of telly. If he don't have to be out, bless him. So yeah, let's hope it's on first, and let's hope it's a good game. They'll be up for it because they'll go above us if they beat us. That's the difficulty, isn't it? They need to win to go above us. We need to draw to stop them going above us. But if we try to approach it as though just don't lose, we'll lose, because that's how we can play and not play. So we've got to go for it. So I think it could be a very entertaining game. But get ready, because they will set about us, and we'll have to match them. And we can't start slow, because there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 goals in front by the time we wake up. If we play like we played against Carlisle in the first half, we don't need another first half like that. I don't suppose there will be. So it could shape up to be a really interesting game.
And while we're on, I've just had an email from Fanatics.
An email's flooded in, Al.
From Fanatics.
Oh,
Get ready for this one.
Don't, Al, don't. Oh, you had to, didn't you?
Whoa. It's my birthday month. Fanatics sale, it says.
oh,
Big savings in the Red Superstore this January. Come on. My birthday money. I'll be in.
you'll get one of those limited edition black shirts.
Only the best get them, Al. Only the best. Not for likes of you, Al, them black shirts.
What are you thinking then for a prediction, Al, for this one? Because as Andy said, one of those where it's probably not the end of the world if we don't win it, but don't lose it realistically, because it keeps us within that top 6 and we'll be safe.
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. Tuesday night on road. We're good on road, aren't we? That's the thing. On Stravels, we're good. So they're not going to be a pushover. I'm going 3-2 Barnsley.
Oh,
wow,
that is a goal fest. Yeah, wow. To be fair, they did lose to Derby a few weeks ago, 3-2. So they've got it in them. Then lost 6-2 to Coventry in Cup as well. Andy,
gosh,
what are you reckoning to it?
Well, we both conceded 30 goals in the league, so that's more or less a goal a game. So at that rate, we're going to go. at that, I were going to go 2-1 because it's tried and tested and it's the way forward. And I've tried to explain that to everybody, play the percentages, but nobody seems to listen. Apart from a couple that are at top of the prediction league, still at the top.
True.
But it's all on for a 1-1, isn't it? Same number of goals conceded, very close in goals that we've scored. So it's going to be 1-1, isn't it?
One apiece.
I'm lying. It's going to be 2-1 to Barnsley.
No, right. Nice. I was shocked then that you're gonna have a move away from it. I'm gonna go.
Have you got it written down, Josh? You're looking at somewhere. You got it
No.
written down?
I'm just looking at my thoughts
Oh,
more than anything else. And yes, I will go steady. Gonna do that at this hour. I'm gonna go 2-1 to Oxford. 2-1 Oxford. I think, yeah. I'll go 2-1 Oxford.
Could happen. Could easily happen, yeah.
Yeah, I just think they're going to be one of them tricky sides that you come up against because they always seem to have weird seasons in this league. They're either nearly getting relegated or pushing top six. Now, when Airbo was on loan with them and they almost made top six or did make the top six, then yeah,
good side.
I'm going to 2-1 Oxford. Get your predictions down in the comments below. I'm not sure. Is top of the league 6 points, 9 points?
6.
So yeah, if you've not predicted, you're only 2 correct results away from the top because Andy's 2-1 wins has to come to an end at some point. And if in doubt, just predict a 2-1 win and you'll pick up 3 points.
It'll come to an end in 12 games, Josh, or however many.
What if you get the record for the amount of points in a mini league?
I'll tell you this.
Ironic as next match we mentioned Exeter were called off last season. Ironic on Saturday we're playing Exeter.
Yeah.
Wonder if it'll get called off.
Yeah, we've got undersoil eating.
Bears.
Just got to remember to pay it bill to be switched on.
Right. Remember to get your predictions down in the comments below. Give us your opinion on the Stevenage postponement as well. Obviously, a lot of fans there out of pocket, and there is something that could have been done about it as well. So a massive shame there. And yeah, we'll be back with you on Wednesday with our reaction to Oxford and previewing Exeter at home. See you later, you Reds.